Yoga with Jasmine from Prakasha Yoga and Yoga Therapy. Please, if you'd like to interact in the comments and if you'd like to stay updated on videos that I post, just subscribe and you'll be notified each time a new video comes out if you hit the little bell icon. Today's practice is centered around the deeper mechanics of our breathing and why we breathe a certain way in yoga and how to create a positive effect or a change, a transformation in our physical, mental or emotional states through our breath. So we'll be discussing the finer details first and then we will do a short practice together. So make sure you're comfortable. Find something that you can sit up on so your hips are a little bit higher than your thighs and your spine can be long and tall. And ideally, you want to be able to have a long, tall, free spine so the breath can be received easily. If you're not comfortable sitting on the ground, grab a chair. Anywhere you can be where your spine is free. So if you are sitting in a chair with a back on it, try and avoid leaning back into the chair. Use the muscles of your spine to support you. If you've done a bit of yoga or you've heard about yoga, you may be very familiar with the word Prana and Pranayama. They're similar but they're different. So Prana is pretty much the essence that animates all life. So anything that is alive, animals, plants, trees, our human form, is animated by this incredible force known as prana. Prana is something that we bring into our body from the outside world. And the most efficient way to do that in your yoga practice is through the technique of pranayama. So it's intelligent working with the breath to draw more prana into the body and then when it's in the body to concentrate it and magnify it in certain parts of the body to create an uplifting or a grounding effect. So prana can come in through our food, it can come in through spending time out in nature, it can come from interesting or uplifting conversations that we have with people, spending time with people we love. Basically anything that's coming in, content that we're consuming can either be uplifting or, on the other hand, not so supportive. Someone with high vitality or high prana, you're going to know about it. They're going to hold themselves well, they're going to have sparkling eyes, clear skin. They generally are quite well rounded in life in terms of their sleep functioning, their digestive capacity, their ability to be in groups and be comfortable with themselves and life in general. An individual with not so great prana or diminished prana or someone who's unwell, low vitality, appears to have more like dull, pallid skin, low energy, they have trouble sleeping or they sleep too much, their digestive ability is not great, so they often feel sluggish or congested. And generally they're individuals who might be more prone to depression or anxiety or just not really coping so well in life in general. And because food brings us prana, when we consume like high quality, fresh, organic produce or organic food that's grown with love, then that translates as prana in our system. If we're eating a lot of heavy kind of fried or processed or older foods, then that fuel that we're putting into our body is going to show. So if we bring prana in through our breath, and the mechanics of our breath has 4 components. Often we only think of it as an inhale and an exhale. However, there's also a little gap just at the top of the inhalation and a space at the bottom of the exhalation. And we can work with these two spaces in yoga to create a different effect. So the effect of our inhalation is generally more energizing, uplifting, expanding. And the effect of our exhalation is usually more grounding, more reducing, breath and energy that allows us to let go, to eliminate, to detoxify. And we pair the breath with specific yoga asanas or yoga poses to create an effect. So our inhalation, being expansive, works a lot more effectively if we pair that with back-bending poses or lateral poses. Pretty much any shape that's extending the torso, the upper chest, upper back, and opening the front of the body. And when we use that breath retention at the top of the inhale that I was talking about, that amplifies the effect of that expanding, uplifting, energizing quality of the inhalation. It's something you work up to, though. It's not something that you kind of jump into straight away. You have to kind of work with the foundation first, establish the grounding, and then we can do more uplifting practices. So working with the exhalation, where we're closing off the front of the body, where we're in forward folds or twists, anything that kind of compresses or closes off the front of the body is more supported by an exhalation, because we're letting go, and that pressure from the body helps to release the breath. But not only the breath, also emotions or heavier energies in the body that are weighing us down. And then when we work with the pause at the end of the exhalation, we're magnifying that grounding capacity, that element that taps into our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest, our slow down mechanism. And using exhale hold at the end of your breath can also increase that ability to detoxify and to let go of unhelpful stuff that we carry that drags us down in life. So these two breath retentions are called kumbhaka in Sanskrit, the language of yoga. Kumbhaka means a vessel. So when we work with the hold at the top of the inhale, we call this anta kumbhaka, which means the vessel is full, the vessel being our torso. And at the end of the exhalation, bahya kumbhaka, empty, the vessel is empty. Okay, so taking notes, getting all of this down. We have this amazing muscle known as the diaphragm, which resides kind of straight in the midline of our torso and separates the upper part of the chest capacity from the lower part of the abdominal capacity. So the inhale causes the diaphragm to move down, which acts like a vacuum to draw breath down. So when we exaggerate a fuller breath, we're getting more out of our breath, and rather than just breathing up here in the higher lobes of the lungs, we're getting that full breath all the way down and filling to the lower lobes of the lungs, and then energetically filling even deeper than that. So even though the breath has this upward lifting, expanding quality, the diaphragm moves in a downward fashion. And the exhalation works in the opposite manner. So when we exhale, we're releasing breath out, but our diaphragm moves up. So the diaphragm domes like up into the lower ribs and creates this kind of pressure that forces air out. And the lower abdomen hollows out. And when we work more consciously with the breath, we deliberately draw the belly button in and up towards the front of the spine, and this also affects the pelvic floor, which creates a little bit of a lift. So when we take these really full, deep, conscious breaths, we're giving our internal organs a massage. We're helping the fluid that's in the organs move around. We're helping the movement of the organs by compressing them, by stretching them, and generally helping them flush out anything. So we're just enhancing that detoxifying quality of the capacity of the breath. We pair that with movement, then we're getting a full body workout in terms of the energetics and the internal workings of the body. And with regular practice, we're just like defragging every day. So we don't build stuff up and create blockages in the body which restricts the flow of prana. By having a regular yoga practice with really strong or good quality breathing, we're just daily taking out the rubbish. If that makes sense. Physically, when we breathe, the breath only fills the lungs to the lower lobes of the lungs. Then if you think of the transference of oxygen goes into the bloodstream, and our breath travels around the whole system. And with our intention, we can move prana around our system too. So just by having your mind in a certain part of your body, you're increasing the flow or movement of prana towards that part of the body. So often I'll say in a yoga class, breathe into where you're feeling the sensation. Now, we can't physically breathe into our hip or our lower back, but we can take our awareness there, enhance our attention there, and then the energy kind of pulls there or gathers there. And often you can feel it as like a tingling or just a slight effervescence in that part of the body or on the skin. So let's do a short practice now that you've got a little bit more of an understanding of how your breath works. So if you could come to lie flat on your back, you can have a pillow under your head if you need to, and make sure you're comfortable, and then bend your knees and have your feet flat, please. So lying flat on your back with your feet to the ground, knees pointing up to the ceiling. If you need to, your knees can fall into each other and your feet can be a bit wider than your hips. So once you're there, bring your hands to your abdomen, fingertips pointing in, so they're resting towards the navel, and the palms of the hands are resting on the outer ribs. And then start to notice your breath. Start to notice the movement of the diaphragm. So you're directing your breath into your hands as you inhale. You might feel the fingers stretch a little. And then as you exhale, let your breath drop down and your fingertips and fingers will likely move a little bit closer together. So slowing the breath down, drawing longer on the inhale, releasing deeper on the exhale. And noticing if any other part of the body is tense. Often we hold that tension in our shoulders, our jaw, or our belly. So let everything just be soft. As your breath rises and falls. And then deliberately guide your breath into the upper part of your abdomen, in that space where your ribs meet. It's like a triangular space. Like you're trying to expand a balloon in this part of the body. And now bring more awareness to your exhalation. You can even place your hand below your belly button. And let the inhale happen passively, but still focus to the upper part of the abdomen. And as you exhale, feel the lower belly draw inward and upward a little. So it's just a slight lift and contraction. And then let that contraction go before you inhale again. As you exhale, the lower belly draws inward and upwards. A toning of the abdomen happens. And you might even feel just a very gentle contraction or lift of the pelvic floor. And let that relax and breathe in. And then as you exhale again, lifting, drawing up, visualizing your diaphragm doming up. As you inhale, relax the belly and visualize your diaphragm, dome-shaped muscle, flattening down towards the belly button. Exhale, contract, gentle lift. Nothing should feel forced. Just working with your natural breath. And then this time when you inhale, tilt your hips forward and feel the spine arch, remembering that the inhalation is paired with back bends and opening poses in yoga. And when you exhale, continue with that lift and contraction and feel your hips rock towards you as you flatten your back, particularly the lower back, to the ground. So we're linking breath with movement, arching the spine, tilting the hips towards the toes as you inhale. Notice the diaphragm flattening, space lengthening in the upper part of the torso. And as you exhale, visualize your diaphragm doming up as your lower back flattens to the ground, hips tilt towards you, and your lower belly draws inward and upwards. All the breath comes out. Relax the abdomen to receive that full breath in. Tilting the hips forward, feeling the spine gently arch. Exhale, link the movement with the breath. So the whole breath out, the hips are moving and the spine is flattening, lower back's flattening. And then inhale, rock the hips forward. Continue for a few more rounds of breath, paying attention to the full length of your inhale and the full length of your exhalation. And then as you next breathe in and arch the back, it doesn't have to be a big arch. Diaphragm moves down, energy expands. Hold the breath at the very top of the inhalation, so your breath is held full. Anta kumbhaka, the vessel is full. And then let that go when you feel like you need to. Don't hold it too long that it creates tension. And exhale, flatten the lower back to the ground, hips tilt towards you. Empty the vessel, gentle contraction, hollowing out the belly. Hold the breath at the end of the exhale, and it's just a very gentle suspension of the breath. It's not a gulping and forcing. Everything should stay relaxed. And then release that hold as you inhale again. So just working for a few rounds with this technique. And it might just be a 2-second breath hold. In that breath hold, notice how still the mind becomes. And let yourself drop into that still space. So we're moving from the gross to the more subtle, which is how we train ourselves to perceive the deeper energetics, but also to notice deeper sensations below the more obvious sensations. So let go of the hip tilting. Continue to breathe, and as you inhale, feel a light expanding and moving up your spine, deep into the brain. Hold the breath at the top of the inhale and feel that light expand. When you're ready to exhale, feel that light draw down the spine, all the way down to the base of your pelvis, base of the spine. Hold the breath out and just allow that light to expand a little at the base of your pelvis. Relax, inhale, draw the light up the spine. Visualize it moving through the vertebra and resting deep in the brain, and hold that light there just for a moment. Exhale, draw that light down the spine to the base of the pelvis. Hold that light there and just visualize that light down there expanding. This is your prana. We're moving prana up and down our spine with our intention. Keep going for a few more rounds. If you haven't yet closed your eyes, I really recommend closing your eyes just so you can fully be attuned to the inner workings that we're creating with this practice. With your breath, sense that you're gathering that prana from the outside, drawing it in through the nostrils and guiding it, channeling it up and down the spine. And then just let go of the breath altogether. So you're still breathing, but you're not controlling the breath as intensely, and you're not holding the breath at the end or the top again. And let your breath just settle back to a very natural rhythm. So it becomes really subtle, really fine. Continue to work with that awareness of prana or light moving up and down the spine. And it's a very delicate or elegant movement. And then just let that light gather at your heart. And feel it pulse and expand. And as you concentrate on the light in your heart, allow it to get brighter and bigger and expand beyond the space of the heart to your whole body. You're filling and flooding your body with that light, with prana that you cultivated through your breath. Allow yourself to bathe in light, bringing with it a sense of nourishment, of healing, and a sense of lightness to the whole body and mind. Stay here as long as you like. And when you're ready to come out, roll to your left or right side and pause there for a moment before coming up to a seated position. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Blessings and namaste.